while Dex, all alone, in between of the blue and gray containers, finds himself absolutely pincered out on the situation and managed to bring yet another person down. But unfortunately, it does seem like we do have another player, Dimmer, that just came out.
Another player from Albania, so I have to see how they're going to do. But anyway, we're going to be jumping into the first game. It's going to be Albania versus France. Best of 5 here. Each one's going to be made up of 7 rounds. So let's see how they're going to start this off.
With that all said and done, it does seem like the side of Albania is a little bit slow on the uptake. I'm not too sure what Dimmer was originally doing. He kind of just sat down on the floor waiting for things to happen. But for the side of France, they are advancing pretty fast. Actually, Albania is actually advancing pretty fast, making them move a little bit counterclockwise all the way to the southern side of the map at this moment in time, right inside of Cape Town. And France playing it off a little bit defensively. You do have Dai. Dai? Huh. Okay, apparently he's here. We do have Dex as well that will be playing in here. So understandably, I really want to see how the France player is going to be working on that, since Chris is not exactly here, unless they're the same person, then I'm not too sure about that. But, you know, the zone will be closing down right about now, and they're definitely going to be forced to go into a fight real soon. So until then, we're going to see them poking one another.
You know, I'm glad to see Dai here. He's probably one of the nicest guys within the Free Fire scene, I'd have to say. So let's see if he's going to be able to try up for France today. It's a fairly good lineup from their side. But you know what I would have liked to see is actually the glue walls to have the flags of the countries on instead of like these other ones. That would be really cool. Maybe in future ones we can see that the winner of this tournament actually gets their flag as a glue wall. That'd be pretty sick. But YP is going to be the first one to get knocked down there. No way he's going to get picked up, as he's going to get flushed out by Joy, and that is going to be the first kill. And it's going to be a 3 versus 4 situation. Advantage from the Storm side is going to be on the side of France. They just have to keep this sort of dominance up here on this area, but it's going to be Vincenzo trying to jump around this glue wall, but he's going to have to go outside. He's jumps around behind this player, but might get turned on instead. No, he's going to be able to take him down. Jumps in through the window, looking to try and take down another one, but it's going to be a 1 versus 2 situation, and Dex is just in such a dire situation right now. He's going to have to try and stay alive, and he's trying to keep them outside of the circle with these glue walls, and it's working perfectly. Dex, you absolute monster.
You know, just crash squads kind of thing. All you gotta do is identify where could possibly be the center of the circle, box yourself in, and you don't even have to raise a finger, and you'll be able to win the fight. So this round by France, really putting brains in their game. I really like what Dax was really working on, as he just kind of boxed himself right inside or right by the corridor and just doing what he can. You know, so I don't know. I just really like what France did, and really hope that we'll be able to see more of that here in Katowice.
Yeah, see what they're going to be able to do, you know, on that front. Oh, YP trying to take some shots initially, like right off the bat of that UMP across the map. I always find it brave trying to use an SMG as a long-range weapon, but sometimes it works, but honestly, the damage sort of drops off, and accuracy is just so low that it's not often that useful. Just go for the sort of placement rather than going in for those shots, but Dex going to be going in for some jump shots here, but he's going to soon get overwhelmed. If he's not careful, he's going to have to back away, and you can see him just jumping away, spraying down those glue walls. Actually, unlimited ammo here. He's going to be able to back away from this fight without too much of an issue. No fast downs so far. It's still all 4 players on each team alive at the moment. Sokar has taken a bit of damage, so is Timer as well. They haven't got too much to worry about. As I say, that circle is going to run out in the open, be taken down to about 30 HP there, so you have to be, you know, a little bit careful on that front as well. There's no grenades, so I don't have to worry about that so much, which I'm glad about, because otherwise it would just be a barrage of a constant grenade spam.
And for now, although we won't be looking at grenade spams, we'll be looking at glue wall spams. At this moment in time, we do have the Albanians. They're just kind of getting themselves together pretty close to one another. They really do not want to lose any one of their members too early into the game, while the zone is slowly squishing them in. Dex is completely out of position, probably going to be flushed out by the zone, and yes, he will be. First person to go down, probably Marix is going to be the next one with his HP all the way down to less than half HP. So Cole is going to be the same as well, as YP immediately just gets himself right out of the blue walls, finds himself a single shot on the Sokol and brings him down almost immediately. Joy and Vincenzo not in the best position. YP surprisingly still managed to salvage his current situation and managed to bring yet another person down. But unfortunately, it does seem like we do have another player, Dimmer, that just came out of absolutely nowhere and punched all of the bullets right into the faces of YP as well. And that is going to be a single round towards the side of Albania, now that France will not be able to, kind of flush everyone out with the glue walls anymore. It is all about marksmanship in that round.
I don't know if you saw as well, but Marix actually managed to trap himself in with glue walls into a building. And he was like, no. I tried to jump out of it, but just got himself stuck, to be honest. So
kind of one decks it as well.
Yeah, a bit of a shame on that front. So I'm not sure what these guys are doing right now, if they're trolling or what, but they're just currently staying around here. So I'm guessing the round needs to be restarted or something. Who knows?
I don't know. It kind of seems like they are working on something a little bit more strategic. They prefer to stay at where they are, although I'm not too sure why exactly they're doing that, since they are at the edge of a circle, and the circle will now be closing in, and thus they have to make their way closer and closer over to the side of France, since they have already taken their positioning somewhat closer to the center. So they are in positions. They do have the third-person view in order to watch out where the Albanian players are going, and they would definitely have quite an advantage in terms of scouting possibilities. But I wouldn't count France out just yet, or rather, I wouldn't count Albania out just yet.
Yeah, I mean, I would actually say they have the advantage because they're on the side of the factory where it is going to finish. So they can definitely try and close out one of the France players from being able to get in here. So France is going to have to do a lot more work to be able to actually jump in here, which is exactly what it looks like they're trying to do now, going around the outside, trying to get some position in here. And this is going to be YP in the center of the circle, pretty much, just trying to spin around in the circle and try to protect himself. And might just be able to make this on here. It's going to be a little bit difficult. It's now going to be very close. All four players alive on each side, but that's going to be changing very fast here. YP's going to have two players on his right side pushing up, and Sokol coming across, and Joy as well.
Pretty sure the France have the advantage in terms of circle. They propped up quite a lot of glue walls, and they do have a pretty nice space for themselves. And they also just completely flushed the Albanian team outside. There's just no way that they can get themselves in, or maybe not. It does seem like Albania is actually the one that have a small little advantage. And in the end, the France players, they still managed to get themselves right on top. I believe that they did manage to make full use of their guns in order to make the Albanian team die a lot faster while they are consumed by the zone. So it was a little bit wishy-washy from both sides, and it's kind of confusing. Not too sure who are the one that actually took the true center of the zone, but it doesn't really quite matter, since France is the one that won round number 3 as we approach into round number 4 in this very seesaw kind of pattern of a game, and may actually be a pretty tight game, which is not something that we see very often when it comes to France taking the games.
It's pretty good gameplay by them. I think Dai was maybe in the true center, but I think it was kind of split between both of them. So if YP and the others hadn't sort of jumped out like Marix into the edge of into the actual storm and done the initial damage to Albania, they could definitely have found themselves at like a disadvantage, and it could have been a 2-1 to Albania instead. But no, they have taken the advantage, and now there's going to be a bit of an interest in terms of events as well. They have currently got the sort of main control on this sort of circle, or so they think. And that's going to be potentially going to change. The Sokol jumps on over with the XM, takes some shots, knocks down one. YP going to be coming up from behind, trying to help out his players, but the glue wall's going to be blocking the bullets, and now it's going to be a 2 versus 3 situation. No, Sokol's going to go down as well. Vincenzo and Time are going to be the last ones alive, but YP and Dai are going to be doing their best here to show up for France to try and pull out another round out of the bag. And this could really be spread on the end of this for Albania in this first game if they're not careful.
Most of the players, they prefer to get themselves at the higher end of the map, and that is very common, right? Usually whoever's at the top, biggest advantage. But this time, the circle seems to favor whoever is going to be at the bottom half of the map, kind of on ground levels. But every now and then, it could still be right smack in the center. You can't really tell what will happen, since it is going to be 2 versus 2. Vincenzo currently a little bit too close to the side of Dai, but fortunately, Timur, all the way at the top, he still got his eyes onto Dai, manages to deal a decent amount of damage on him as Vincenzo, like a true little eagle, he just got or more like a bunny, you know, kind of just hopping from left and right all around the place, while YP takes the game all by himself and get the final nail in the coffin onto Vincenzo. Not what I was expecting, not gonna lie. The game was pretty close all by itself. Vincenzo's HP was all the way down to a sliver of health, so it really boils down to who gets the first shot, and of course, if it lands.
Yeah, the problem with being on the top ground is when you need to go down, you do that animation when you hit the ground, the kind of Superman hit, and that stops you from being able to react. So when he jumped down from the above, that really just put him in a massive disadvantage, and unfortunately he was able to get knocked down there. And then YP with just the shotgun was just absolutely fantastic. Managed to turn around and just double tap Vincenzo in the head. So that really just played out perfectly for them. Now we're going to be going on to the next round here. It's going to be round 5 out of 7. France just need to close this down out, and they've won this game, but YP is going to be taking some initial damage, going to be able to heal up fairly easily here. Some pressure going to be put onto him by the Albania side. Sokol's going to take down Dex. Not a good start for the French side here. We may well just need to retreat back away from this playing so aggressive, but Marix is going to be balling himself up here in the glue walls, trying to block off any progression from the Albanian side, but it's going to be Joy putting on the pressure. YP going to be falling down to timer. It's not going to be looking so good. Marix as well is going to go down. Dai, last one left alive with only 44 HP. He's going to be able to flush out one, puts up some glue walls, but he's only delaying the inevitable as Sokol's coming up from the side and going to come up behind the glue wall, takes him out, and that is going to be another round on the board for Albania as they try to make their own comeback here.
Very convincing round from Albania as they have finally put themselves on the big number 2. France is now at number 3 though, so we are looking at a match point. But unfortunately, we all know how match point works. You typically always find yourself choking whenever you find it a little bit tough to kind of close the game out, and that very well may be the case for France, right? They gave that one round in round number 5 over to Albania, not necessarily because they missed out on anything or they missed their shots. It's really just about the positioning that the Albanians have done for themselves, and it was relatively good, right? YP, he was pretty much in front of the enemy's lines, and he did manage to get a small little peek as to where the enemies were, but he didn't really quite connect the shots because he was playing pretty defensively, as he wanted to stay as close to his friends as much as possible. Understandably, they wouldn't want to lose anyone too early into the game, which is something that I was talking about previously just now, as Joy from the Albania side just working all the way through the containers, trying to get a shot down. Dax is going to be the first one to get a kill down on the Sokol, so that is going to be a sad one for Albania, already losing the first person in, but Joy is not giving up just yet. He really wants to get that single kill down onto the side of Dai, and his HP is all the way down to half, but unfortunately all of the glue walls they just fought by him will be able to surround him with some tight cover. But unfortunately, Joy, with his shotgun, blasted down that glue wall almost instantaneously, and there was just no way for Dai to even get himself right out of there. YP is going to be the next one to go straight down. It's going to be a 3 versus 2 game. Marix gets his heal up, and fortunately, or rather unfortunately, he still got a nice headshot from the side of Joy, and he himself is going to go straight down, while Dex, all alone in between of the blue and gray containers, finds himself absolutely pincered out, and there was just no way that he could get himself out of there alive.
Yeah, in that kind of situation, when Albania are focusing so much on one player, there's like 2 of them focusing on one player who's just in these glue walls, that gives France a massive advantage to be able to try and progress there, but they just completely failed to sort of grasp that opportunity. So unfortunately, they fell by the wayside there, and now they're going to have to, like you said, choke it out and try to win this final round. Whichever team wins this is going to be able to take the first match, and this is going to be a best of 5, so there's not too many games when it comes down to it. More than a best of 3, but less than obviously a best of 7 or anything. So interesting to see which one of these teams is going to crumble under the pressure or going to be able to show up. BDS have got a bit of a good, past history in doing well within the sort of pro leagues, but they haven't got their full team here. YP isn't exactly there. Marix isn't either. Marix is playing on a sort of a computer as well, so a little bit of a difference in playstyle between these players, which is kind of interesting to, I guess, hear from their side at some point as to how that affects their kind of gameplay communication as well. Let's see how they're going to do. A bit of a slower start, not as crazy as that previous sort of 2 maps we've seen. Dex going to be making the first sort of move here, jumps across, takes some shots at him, but doesn't take any damage initially. While he's trying to watch out for anyone who's pushing up on towards him, he does realize that it's potentially a trap. Die going to be up close, but Vincenzo's here to help.
Just way too many glue walls. They don't really have a lot of information, but surprisingly, Joy did manage to find where Marix is, and that is inside of the building. Did manage to get a couple of pot shots onto him and force him right out into the cover, and thus have to heal himself up. Everyone else from the side of France would want to get themselves right out of the dangerous area, especially since there was so much pressure just being thrown out by the Albanian team. And just like that, Joy and Sokol gets down a kill onto YP as well as Die. Just gonna be left with Dex as well as Marix. Exactly what must they do for themselves? Doesn't seem like they have to do much, because Joy, all alone, manages to bring most, if not all, of the players down from the side of France. And that comeback from Albania